Molly Brant was a native Mohawk, born possibly in Canajoharie, central New York, in the year of 1736, to a prominent Mohawk family. She was raised by a very strong-willed mother, as her father had died when she was a very young child. Some sources suggest she lived in the Ohio Valley for a while before moving back to Canajoharie. Raised in the Christian faith, her birth name was Mary. Culturally bilingual, she spoke fluent Mohawk and English, and was familiar with the customs of both societies. As she matured, she became a clan mother, a role that gave her great influence in political decision-making, land stewardship, and diplomacy. In her later years, she would influence Indigenous British relations during the American Revolution. As a young child with many siblings, she learned the way of the Mohawks from her mother. Some scholars suggest she lived in Ohio for a short time before moving back to the Mohawk Valley. As Molly grew into a teenager, her world was intertwined with Mohawk and British influences, and she learned to embrace both cultures, but she remained a Mohawk first and foremost. Molly Brant was 18 years old when she first went to Philadelphia with Mohawk leaders, including her stepfather and a delegation of Mohawk chiefs and elders, to discuss disputed or fraudulent land transactions with colonial authorities. Her introduction into the world of diplomacy. Molly's younger brother, Joseph, learned a great deal from his sister. He went on to become a Mohawk warrior who led and fought for the British cause in the American Revolution. William Johnson, the British Indian intermediary, spent much time at Canajoharie and was very familiar with the Brant family, which included Molly. In 1759, William Johnson's first wife died, and soon after, Molly and William became partners in many ways, both romantic and political. Molly moved into Fort Johnson on the Mohawk River just east of Canajoharie, and in the ensuing years had many children of their own. Together, they raised their family, and Molly became the heart and soul of the homestead. As the Johnson family grew, as did their political aspirations, they were forced to build a much larger estate, Johnson Hall, in present-day Johnstown, named after William's first son, John. Here they could entertain high-ranking British authority and Mohawk leaders alike. It also housed the growing forces built to defend their British way of life. Both Mohawk tribesmen and British soldiers were barracked here to provide an immediate response to any action in the valley. William and Molly were very happy here, and their lives were filled with family and their innate drive to advance their personal agendas. This power couple had very strong alliances and connections to their pasts, and were not to be swayed by local patriot intentions. The valley elite were always welcome, and high times were enjoyed. And Molly continued to run the estate with ever-increasing control. She had her hand in every aspect of Johnson Hall, from finance to social engagements to diplomacy. Many years had passed since Johnson Hall had become the centre for all things British in the Mohawk Valley. It was now 1774, and Sir William Johnson had become seriously ill and died at the age of 58. Molly, still a young woman of 38, and still with minor children, had become a widow. With William's passing and the violent tenor in the valley, son John was now in charge of the estate and current affairs. John had become a hot item on the New York Patriots' agenda due to his loyalty to the Crown. John was eventually on the run, and Molly had moved out of the Hall and back to her native village of Canajoharie with her children. Molly was also a target of the Patriots. Sir William had left her a small inheritance in his will, but the authorities contested it because she was a woman of Mohawk Indian lineage. The Hall fell into Patriot hands and, over many years, became run down and deserted. Molly again had to reinvent herself. Her Mohawk tribe and many other Iroquois tribes had always been loyal to the British Crown. As tensions increased in the valley and war seemed imminent, these native people sided with what they knew and felt most comfortable with, the British cause and all the loyalists in the valley. Since she was highly politically connected to both societies, Molly was a very important person and could still sway many future actions during this tremendously frightening period in American history. She needed to be careful and work without being detected by the patriots in the valley. Her most important job was to keep the Iroquois loyal to the British war effort. Molly, at one point, was hiding and housing Valley Tories from the wrath of the warring patriot militias. It was now the summer of 1777. The American Revolution was in full swing. Molly still lived in the Mohawk Valley and maintained an intelligence network among Loyalists and Mohawk contacts. Whether it be valley lore or an actual fact, when General Herkimer and his forces moved west to reinforce the Patriots at Fort Stanwix, Molly supposedly sent word to British commander St. Leger through channels unknown. With this advanced scouting information, the British and Iroquois allies were able to set up the horrific ambush at Oriskany that killed upwards of 900 Patriots. This may have been the last straw for Molly and her existence in the Mohawk Valley. She was forced to move west first to the Onondaga Indian village, then farther west to the British Fort Niagara, where she and her children stayed for a short time. Fort Niagara was only a brief solution, and her time there was short-lived. Molly had to leave New York to ensure the safety of her children. She reappeared in the British stronghold of Montreal, where she enrolled her children in a private school and thought about what might be next for her. These years had been very tough on Molly. She went back to her Canajoharie home, only to find the ruins of what once was. Molly returned to Fort Niagara. She was still an important intermediary, and British officials respected her influence. Younger brother Joseph Brant had become an integral part of the British war effort. In 1779, the Sullivan Campaign, led by Patriot forces, burned and destroyed many western New York Indian villages, and the refugees were pushed to the area around Fort Niagara. Molly helped support these dislocated Mohawks and Loyalist families. By 1783, American independence was a reality, and this forced all the refugees, Indian and British, to relocate to Canada, marking the end of Molly's existence in New York. Molly settled at Cataraqui, now Kingston, Ontario. Lying before her are the ruins of the original French fort Frontenac, built in 1673. So, in the end, Mary Molly Brant, a Mohawk native, had become, maybe, the most powerful woman in upstate New York politics during the American Revolution. Her upbringing by the elders in her village had given her the tools, along with her charismatic personality, to serve as an instrument for the British-Iroquois alliance. Her relationship with Sir William Johnson had put her in a position to appear before hundreds of important people in the Mohawk Valley and helped to maintain the strong coalition of forces. Being aligned with the British doomed her to banishment from the ancestral grounds. After the war, Molly settled at Cataraqui, now Kingston, Ontario. The British built her a house, gave her land, compensated her for wartime losses, and granted her a pension. She remained respected in Kingston and continued to be associated with the Anglican Church there. The Americans tried to encourage her to return, but she refused. She remained loyal to the British alliance and to Haudenosaunee interests for the rest of her life. Molly Brant died on the 16th of April, 1796, in Kingston. Her exact burial location is uncertain. Her legacy is bigger than being Sir William Johnson's companion. She was a Mohawk political leader, clan mother, Loyalist organizer, diplomat, mother, refugee, and survivor. Her life shows how Native women could hold major influence in diplomacy, war, family alliances, and political decision-making during the American Revolution.